Think about what kind of kid you want to be. Hi, guests. This is Riley.
And Brycen.
Back with another episode of Goats in the Making, where we talk about game-changing stories of life, sports, and faith.
On today's episode, we are excited to introduce you to founder of White Rose Baseball and NYABC coach, Sam Dollinger.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Sam graduated from Penn State University while creating his own bat company and working to save up for content creation equipment. Sam also spent time as a content strategist at Taylor Chip, where he gained a ton of insight and inspiration. He then founded White Rose Baseball, which is an organization that focuses on teaching youth players and promoting the love of the game. Under Sam's leadership, White Rose Baseball has grown, and it is known for its high-quality training programs and community involvement.
Sam has an ability to connect with young athletes and is a beloved figure in the sports content community. He joined TikTok in 2022 and now averages 320,000 views per video, with his highest viewed video with over 14.5 million views. When he's not on the field, Sam enjoys spending time with his family and exploring new ways to improve the game of baseball. His vision for White Rose Baseball continues to drive the organization forward, making lasting impact on the lives of many young athletes.
Are there any other things our guests should know about you?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think. That was a pretty comprehensive introduction. I wasn't expecting all that. No, I think you guys covered all the bases, like, super thoroughly.
Great. Okay. We'd like to start off by getting to know our guests with a few this or that and rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Who is on your sports Mount Rushmore?
Sports Mount Rushmore. They're going to be mostly baseball players because I'm a huge baseball guy, obviously. But for the non-baseball, let's start off with Muhammad Ali, greatest combat sports, athlete of all time. So that's number one. Going to baseball, Brooks Robinson basically invented the defensive position of third base. I don't think he gets enough love. I always say he's the greatest third baseman of all time, and people say Mike Schmidt was, and they probably have a pretty strong case, but I love Brooks Robinson too much to accept anything else is true. And let's keep going. I feel like we got to throw a pitcher on there. Who should we go in the pitcher range? Let me see. Well, you know what? Let's go Babe Ruth. He's like the original two-way player, the first guy to set records in both positions. I think he also still holds the record for most records held by any baseball player of all time. So that's going to be our third guy up there.
I was thinking Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson's pretty cool. Randy Johnson is a maniac in that he was a lefty who threw super hard, which isn't insanely common, but he also threw it from such an odd angle that it was like, from that slot, it's coming at you in the batter's box. Yeah, let's throw Randy Johnson on there. That's awesome.
He was so tall.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's tall.
For a pitcher, that's really tall for a pitcher.
He's a bird photographer now, apparently.
Did not know that.
There you go.
Who's your favorite banana baller?
Oh, man. Oh, you can't make me pick. Jackson supported me for a long time. Rex, one of my best friends. Dalton's another one. Tanner. Baber's been a supporter for a long time. Yeah, there's too many to pick. But of those names I threw out, and probably a couple I'm forgetting, it's all those guys.
All right. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl. I go to bed and way too late every night.
Not me.
Me too.
10 o'clock every night.
Oh, I wish I could hold myself to that. Yeah, there are some nights where it's morning and I'm still editing a video.
What's your favorite stadium you've ever been to?
Camden Yards. Camden Yards is the first stadium in a long, long time that was built that had a vibe, like it has its own feeling because it was built to incorporate the parts of Baltimore that were already there, namely like the warehouse. It was built to accommodate all the stuff that was there. And so it feels like it was built onto something instead of on top of something. And a lot of ballparks that have been built since then have been built to emulate that.
Yeah. I feel like my favorite stadium is Fenway.
Fenway was cool. Fenway is super cool.
That's when I got this glove.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's nice and broken in now too.
I like Wrigley Field.
I've never been. It's on my bucket list, but I've never been there.
Well, as a Cubs fan, I would go second, but there's a lot of other good ones.
That's another one that's within driving distance that I haven't been to for some reason. I've been to, I want to say like 11, and PNC is like 4 hours away from me, and I still haven't been.
The view is really good,
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
especially behind home plate.
I really liked San Francisco I went to last year, and I also think Oakland was underrated. Like the stadium wasn't great, but the field was cool looking.
When you were playing baseball still, what was your number?
Oh man, it switched a couple of times. When I first started, I got like 4 or 5 because it was kind of like they would just give you a number and it was always super low numbers. When I first got to pick my number for the first time, I wore 19 because I was a big Chris Davis fan. And then Chris Davis got popped for PEDs, and that like broke my heart as a kid. So I started wearing 99 because nobody was wearing it at the time. Like Aaron Judge wasn't Aaron Judge. But then once I got to college, I picked up 37 because I only had a couple options. And I've been rocking 5 ever since because I said Brooks Robinson's like the coolest. So I wear 5 in men's league now.
What is your favorite Bible verse?
I have been obsessed with Mark 9:23. Someone says to Jesus, like, oh, save this boy if you can. And then Mark 9:23, Jesus says, if I can. But that's kind of the whole thing. He's just like, if I can. Like, did you just ask me if I can? And that's him basically saying, like, no, I can. I can do anything. Like, don't forget like who I am. And that it's a very like human reaction from Jesus to be like, no, 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 not if I can, I can.
All right, this is a good one. What is your favorite glove design?
Okay, so Japanese kip. I'm kind of like, as I get older, I'm a big fan of one basic color and then another like accent color. So like a nice blonde, a nice tan, black leather looks great. And then you can accent it with red or blue or whatever you think works best for your personality. But those super simple designs have been kind of my thing lately.
All right, this is another good one. What is the best cake flavor?
The best cake flavor. Okay, when I was growing up, my mom would make me birthday cakes and she would let me pick whatever flavor I wanted. And I always wanted a chocolate cake with mint icing. I know some people think mint is only good for like toothpaste, but I love mint. So like a chocolate mint cake is the best.
Okay.
For me, mint is definitely my favorite ice cream, cake,
Yeah.
like all of those things. Like nothing tops mint for me, but like mint added, this may sound weird, but like I like mint and chocolate mixed. So kind of like
Yeah.
the cake. That sounds really good right now. Like I
Like
want,
like a thin mint almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm either
It's
or birthday cake. I'm either vanilla or birthday cake. That's really all.
vanilla, I mean, is solid. You really can't go wrong with just like a vanilla cake.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is a good one. What is your favorite home run celly?
Oh, you know what? My friend Preston, he's fuzzy on YouTube. He did one. He actually got to go to San Diego studios where they make MLB the show and got in the suit, the motion capture suit, and kind of started making up sellies. So he did the one where like you put the bat up to your eye like a telescope that's in MLB the show. And every time I see that, I crack up. So I've never seen anyone do it in real life, but that's my favorite home run celly. That might be a little bit of a cheat answer, but that's the best one.
Yeah.
So I was just playing MLB The Show a little bit ago, and in the Road to the Show mode, that is my home run celly.
Yeah, that's Fuzzy. A lot of people don't know that, but he like went to the video game studio and put on the motion capture suit and kind of made up some home run celebrations. So that one, and then like the one where they float to home plate was also him.
What is your favorite Dalton Malden song?
Oh, Rent Free. That's so easy. I mean, I've also like I love Rec because it came out during one of the NYABCs while we were all in Texas together, and we were kind of brainstorming ways to help him promote it and get it out there, and that has a place in my heart for that reason. But Rent Free is so good.
Yeah.
It's good. That's one of my favorites
Oh
too.
wait, no, I changed my answer. That's how it goes. Sorry, I'm putting that above both of them. That's another one.
My brother's favorite. He can't stop singing it.
I can't either. I catch myself like like all the time.
You like the bananas or the party animals more?
Oh, don't make me pick. I'll say bananas.
Yes.
I've got more buddies on the bananas. The party animals have some like super cool branding. I love watching them come up over the outfield wall.
Me, party animals, Brycen bananas.
Still, we're both best friends.
That's cool though. I mean, that's hey, that's what Tanner and Dalton do, and
Yep.
they make it work. So
Yeah.
Bryson's like the Tanner and Dalton of our generation.
I
Yeah. Me
love
and
that.
Dalton. Grayson.
That's super cool.
All right. We're
All
gonna move
right.
on and ask some questions about your baseball journey.
Sure.
Okay. Riley and I have met some awesome coaches through NYABC that have really impacted our mindset. It has given us a place to be free, have fun, and just focus on growing. How did you become involved with the community?
Yeah, when Rag and Ange first started NYABC, they had been going live on TikTok for a couple of days, and they were like, "Hey guys, like something really big's coming soon. We're not going to tell you what yet, but something big's coming soon." And I didn't know either of them like very well at all at the time. But I remember the first time I heard them say that, I was like, I need to be a part of this. Like I can't let whatever this thing that's going to happen and not be there. So the minute it was announced, I made a video about it, like talking about that it was happening. And Rack and Ange were both following me. So I started messaging with Rack a little bit. I messaged with Ange a couple times and we set up a meeting and I was like, I really, really want to be here for this. Yeah. And that was, oh man, that couldn't have been 2 years ago. But yeah, it was the very first camp, and I was able to get in. I was the last coach added. They've talked about it a couple of times how things were like super tight when they were first starting NYABC, and it was like, we don't know if we're going to be able to pull this off from a money standpoint. And I was like, let's just not worry about it. I just want to be there. We can figure all that stuff out down the line. And so far, like betting on those guys and also betting on myself and saying, like, I need to be there for this has been like the best decision I've ever made in my life. And of course, we've got this picture up behind me, which is from the first NYABC camp. So super cool.
Mhm.
All right. Do you ever deal with negative comments surrounding your platform? And what can kids do to stay positive when facing negativity?
Well, those are two great questions. To answer the first question, there was a point in time where I did the math and figured out how many hate comments I got in 1 month. And it was 1 month where I was getting a lot more than normal. And it was like 700 or 800. It was like a crazy, it was a lot of negative comments. And it's like, okay, there's no point in your life outside of social media where 700 or 800 people are going to say like mean things to you in, a 1 month span. So yeah, at first, when the comments first start rolling in, you take it personally and it hurts your feelings. But then from the social media side, you realize like these are a lot of people who are saying things, but I meet, 10 to 20 people every day. Maybe it's, the person at the counter at the gas station. Maybe it's just someone I hold the door for at the store. You know, you meet a whole bunch of people every day, and none of those people that you meet have that impression of you. So you begin to realize on social media that people aren't really putting anything behind the words that they're using. They're just kind of like saying whatever they can to get some sort of reaction or some sort of attention, and then they move on. And so when you realize that, you stop taking it so personally. Now, the flip side of it is, you know, putting yourself out there on social media. And I bet like you guys probably get some of this too, even where you're at. When you make the conscious decision to put yourself out there are like some people in your life who don't think it's very cool, or who don't get it or understand why you're doing it. And those people will take it negatively as well. But as you get older, you kind of realize like if you're just doing the things you like and you can see a reason for it, you don't have to be able to justify that to anyone else. Like just do what you love, do it to the best of your ability, and most importantly, take feedback from the people who want to provide it from a good place. And those are the only three things you need to worry about. And it's easy to get caught up in everything else, but it's just not worth the time or energy.
Hurt people try to hurt people.
No truer thing has ever been said. And when it's happening to you, it's hard to remember that, but it doesn't make it any less true. You know what I mean?
When I'm facing negativity, I don't really like take it personally. I just like ignore it really. Like I'm just good at like ignoring it and not like doing anything about it.
Yeah, I think that's a like good place to be, where it's like I'm not going to let this impact the things I'm going to do next. But it's also, hey, if it does start to get to you, that's also okay. That's also normal, because you know negativity doesn't always come from, you know, the bully on the school bus. Sometimes it comes from your friends or like your family, or sometimes it comes from places that are close to you, and sometimes it comes from people who don't know that that's what they're giving. They don't realize that they're being negative. They're just speaking their truth, like what they believe. And you know, you can't let that affect you either. You have to stay strong and stay steadfast in like doing what you know you're supposed to do.
What has been the biggest challenge you've ever faced? What helps you stay true to your beliefs in moments of doubt?
Yeah. Wow. A couple of years ago, someone who was super close to me lost her father very suddenly. He's like pretty young as far as things go. And that was a super challenging time for her and for me as well, you know, watching her go through that. And I think in going through that, I watched somebody lean into some things that they didn't believe in, or that weren't necessarily who they were as a person. And in seeing someone else go through those negative things and making maybe different choices than you want them to make, I think that reaffirmed my belief in who I needed to be and the things that I believe in. Obviously, Christ the Lord and Savior is always just, is always great. And if you open yourself up to him, those things will be made great for you.
Yep.
The list of mentors we have that are impacting us is crazy. You being one of them, who were your mentors growing up?
I'm wow. That's I mean, I think my parents deserve a ton of credit, because my parents were always supportive of everything I wanted to do, even if it was a bad idea. They let me do it in a way that you know I wouldn't hurt myself or anything. Like, but they let me figure out what I needed to. No one's going to hold your hand through everything. So having people who encourage you and give you the space to learn who you are is super important. I still feel I'm only 23 years old, so I still feel like I'm learning from the people around me. And you know, a lot of the guys that you guys look up to, like Rack, Ange, Dr. Murph, Ian, all these coaches at NYABC. I think I'm the youngest coach, and I look up to all those guys as well. Like those are my mentors. Every time I spend time with them, I think I'm like I leave thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm a way better person than I was, you know, a couple days ago. Like so, They're everywhere. Mentors and strong voices are everywhere.
Something we seem to hear from a lot of players is that in your career, there's usually one coach that makes you believe you can accomplish anything you set your mind on, and one coach that makes you hate the sport and makes you want to quit. Is that what you experienced? And how can kids deal with the second type?
Yeah. I had a couple of really great coaches growing up who were very patient with me. I don't how old are you guys?
10.
10. So I didn't start playing baseball until I was 11. So, you guys have probably been playing for a couple of years. So jumping into a sport that late was kind of hard because there were a lot of coaches who didn't have the patience to be teaching the basics at that age. And I found one who was Coach Schweitzer, was awesome to me. He treated me really well, taught me like a lot of the foundational stuff, and then everything else started coming naturally as a result of that. I've also had the coach that you guys described who makes you question everything. And in dealing with that, I think the most important thing that you can take away from having a difficult coach is that you don't have power in that situation to make that person like you necessarily. You don't have power in that situation to set the lineups if you think the lineups are unfair. But what you do have power in is how you react to every part of that situation. So for me, it came to a point where I was very consciously like, I realized that maybe not everyone was on my side. And I was like, okay, going forward, every decision I'm going to make is one that I'm going to be able to tell my kids that I was proud of how I handled myself in this situation and what I did next. And I still enjoyed playing baseball with my friends just as much as I always have. Even though I was dealing with a coach who was making it difficult, I carried myself in a way that I'm still super proud of at that time. Every opportunity that you have to do something that you're proud of in those situations is an opportunity you should take.
How did you come up with the name White Rose Baseball for your brand?
So yeah, it started as White Rose Bat Company, which is a symbol of the area that I'm from in Pennsylvania. So there's an area that's like the White Rose area where I'm from. And so the White Rose Bat Company was just the bat company from, that area. It was kind of what I was going for. But then COVID happened and the prices of wood just got way too high to keep selling bats at a reasonable price, which is what I always wanted to make bats that players could afford. And that if they broke them, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get another bat? I wanted to keep it affordable. Wood just got way too expensive to keep doing that. So I was like, oh, okay, well, this business is pretty much over. I've got to pivot. And so I ran into the guys from John Boy Media in Philly, and they were just having such a good time. And I was like, oh, I should be doing that. So I started making videos originally as White Rose Media. Didn't feel authentic. It felt too grand for just one guy. So it became White Rose Baseball. And when I started it, it was never my intention for me to be White Rose, but then people started calling me that. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's my name now. And yeah, it's stuck ever since.
What's your best glove care advice for kids? And what's the best way to break in a new glove?
The best glove care advice for kids. Well, first of all, Brycen, you're doing the number one thing that drives me crazy correctly, which is you have your glove face down like that, which is such a big difference. That's a perfect way to have your glove when you're not using it. A lot of people sit it on its side and it'll get flat over time, or they'll mush it down in the bag. So really the first part of glove care is just start by taking care of it. Like, and that sounds silly, but it's like start by not putting it in the bottom of your bag. Start by not putting it, at your feet when you're done with a game. If it sits face down on the table, that's good. Sits face down on the bench, your pocket's going to stay good. When I'm on a plane or on a bus and I'm flying with a glove, it's on my knee. I'm keeping in the spot where the pocket isn't going to get smashed because that'll keep that glove. Yeah, you've got one right there. It's got phenomenal shape. But anything that flattens the glove or closes it in a way that it's not supposed to close or keeps it closed when, it's not in use. Those are the first big things that I see people doing that mess up their gloves. Second part of that was break-in. I am a big proponent of like the mallet break-in. I have a glove somewhere, but basically I do a 2-hinge break-in, which means that there's a separate hinge for the pinky and there's a separate hinge for the thumb, as opposed to a 1 hinge, which just closes like in one spot like that. So for the 2-hinge break-in, I figure out where those hinges are on the glove, and then I fold them over and I start pounding it there, fold it over on the thumb, start pounding it there until those hinges can move independently of each other. And from there, it's just a lot of catch is, I think, the best way to do it. It's not the fastest, but it's the way that's going to mold the glove to your hand the best. It's going to keep the hinges protected, and it's going to form a nice deep pocket.
I put like a ball in it and then I like put it in
Yep.
tight so it stays open in my bag instead of like closed on with all the other stuff in it.
Another thing you can do if you need to keep it in your bag, do you have like an elbow guard or like an Evo shield or anything like that? A softball and a baseball, or elbow guard. Elbow guard works really well if you have to put something in your bag. Elbow guard's really good at keeping the glove open. It's like the perfect size and shape for that.
I have catcher's mitt, so I put a baseball in it and then I wrap it with this like wrap that it gave me. So, and it keeps the shape
Nice.
easily.
Yeah.
Who are you rooting for in the World Series? And what were your thoughts on the fan interference with Mookie?
I got a little passionate about the fan interference with Mookie. I think people go to baseball games and they forget that the people who are like 10 feet below them are also people. So there was a little aggression there that I thought was like super not okay. I didn't like watching them, first of all, grab his glove, but then kind of bending his wrist back. That's something that doesn't happen by accident. That's like super deliberate. And that bothered me a lot. As far as who I was rooting for, I mean, not the Yankees. Not necessarily the Dodgers, but definitely not the Yankees.
Okay. Time for a little segment we like to call home run or strikeout. We're going to ask you a series of topics and you're going to decide if they're home run or strikeout.
Sweet. Sounds good.
Socks with sandals.
Strikeout. No good.
For me, it's a home run.
Really?
So,
When you say sandals, do you mean slides or do you mean sandals? Sandals.
Like slides.
Slides you can get away with if it's like after a game and you've got your like baseball socks on and you're wearing slides. I'm cool with that. But just out in nature, slides and socks is not the move for me.
I would say it's a double.
Double, somewhere in the middle, like there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Baseball video games.
Home run.
Yeah.
Home run.
Grand Slam.
Yeah. I grew up on MLB 2K. They stopped making that. I started playing the show. But like just last weekend, a friend of mine and we went to a vintage video game store and we got like NCAA baseball 06, MLB like 2K12. Like we just got all these old baseball games and we haven't gotten to play them yet, but I'm super excited about that.
A couple days ago, I checked like how long I've played MLB The Show this year, like the 24 version, and I don't know how long it was, but it was like a bunch of days. I have no clue, but like when I checked my stats for Diamond Dynasty, it was like, oh no.
It adds up quick.
I like collecting all the people, the legends, and getting all the 99s like on a stack team. Like
I had to,
a Yankee playing with the Red Sox or Red
that's
Sox.
cool. Yeah, it's fun seeing guys like Ryan Zimmerman, who I grew up like idolizing, and you get to play as them still. But with Diamond Dynasty, I just can't. I just rage quit way too much. Yeah, it's tough. MLB The Show online is tough, guys. I just got used to PCI hitting. I guess is it zone hitting? I just got used to moving the PCI around and like trying to learn how to do that after 10 years of playing video baseball games without him was so frustrating.
Yeah.
I kind of caught up to it quick.
You're better than I am. I'm still chasing curveballs in the dirt for no reason, or I'll get a fastball down the middle and just like drop the PCI on the ground for no reason.
All right. Breakfast for dinner.
That's a single in the gap. He felt like he could have legged it out into a double, but you didn't quite get there. And you kind of just had to jog back to first. And you were like, oh, I thought that was going to be a double, but it wasn't quite. My reasoning, I think, like on a Sunday, you're hanging out with friends, you went to church in the morning, you're having a good day. That's a time where it's like, yeah, let's have breakfast for dinner. You know what I mean? But like in the middle of the week, when you're grinding it out, I need dinner for dinner.
Yeah.
So there's it's another one where it's like every now and then it's a home run, but if it's a Wednesday and I want a steak and someone's like, let's have eggs and toast, like, eh.
Pumpkin pie and pumpkin spice latte.
Grand slam. I love a pumpkin spice latte. I love pumpkin pie. We have a pumpkin spice cookie that's delicious.
For me, it's a single. I'm not the biggest pumpkin person. I like peppermint and mint stuff more. It's
Candy.
mine.
Peppermint candy canes.
Wearing pajamas all day.
That's a home run. I'm wearing pajamas right now.
This might be a strikeout.
Okay.
Pineapple on pizza.
You know, we'll go double. I have respect for pineapple on pizza. It's not for me, but I'm not like one of those people who's like, I hate pineapple on pizza. Honestly, with a Hawaiian pizza, I don't love ham on pizza more than I'm like angry about the pineapple.
I feel like there's better things than pineapple on pizza, but there's worse.
Agreed. Yeah, exactly. It's like, why are we, hey, like it's for you, it's not for me. I can see why people like it though. I'm not one of those people like, this is horrible.
Mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Grand slam. That's the best ice cream flavor. At Taylor Chip, they just launched their ice cream, and I got to sample so many like mint chocolate chip, like different versions. It was the best week of my life.
Okay. I think this is going to be a home run.
Okay.
Social media.
Yeah. Grand slam. Oh, well, you know what? Let's go triple. Let's go triple because there's like a downside to it too.
There is a downside.
I have a lot of great friends who remind me how to use it the right way and to use it the right way. But there are a lot of people who get like sucked in and use it poorly and use it to their detriment, and it's not good for them. So I'm going to say triple because I think it's a super powerful tool for a lot of people, but you've got to know how to use it before you dive all the way in.
Yeah.
NYABC.
Home run. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a cycle, but the home run's the last one, and it's a grand slam.
And it's a walk-off grand slam. Bottom of the ninth, down by 3. Yeah. That's
Walk-off grand slam.
It's so much better than I think any of us could have imagined, like when it was first. When we did the first camp, we really didn't know each other. Like we all got there and went to the place where we were hosting camp. Like it was like, hey, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Okay, kids are coming in now. But since then, it's become like a multi-day trip where we all get to hang out and develop this camp and figure out what we want to do and how we can do it best to benefit you guys. Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm wearing my NYABC shirt from last camp.
That's sick. Yeah, I've got mine in the closet right now. I have the one before it framed on the wall in my office. So that one's getting framed too at some point. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
NYABC, it's definitely helped lots of kids, and it's just helpful. It's benefited me and Brycen so much, and we're just really thankful for that.
Oh, me too. I feel like I get a lot out of it too, and I'm like one of the coaches, so I'm just as thankful that you guys and everyone else is there to hear what we have to say. And it's not a one-way road. Like it makes all of us better too. So yeah, 100%.
Before we end tonight, we want to give you an award based on what we love about you.
I like awards.
We would want to give you the Grand Slam Guru Award. You are more than just a coach. You're a source of wisdom and inspiration. You are the first to lend advice, not only when it comes to our gear, whether it's gloves, bats, or all the little things that make a difference on the field, but also when it comes to preparing us mentally. You've taught us that the right mindset is just important as the right equipment, and that success is built on confidence, focus, and the belief in ourselves.
Wow.
Your patience, encouragement, and dedication help us grow both on and off the field, reminding us that every challenge is an opportunity to learn and improve. We are grateful for your persistence, your expertise, and your support. You pushed us to be our best through passion, commitment, and mentorship. Thank you for always leading by example, for inspiring us to reach higher and giving us the tools, both physically and mentally, to succeed. Your impact is immeasurable, and we are lucky to have you as our mentor.
Wow. I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot you can say to all that. I appreciate that so much. And just knowing that, there are kids out there who love baseball as much as I did when I was, 11, 12 years old and growing up, knowing that you can make that kind of impact on anyone it's great. That's super wonderful. Thank you guys.
So, time to flip the script. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I want to know where you guys see this podcast going. What are your goals for this podcast? Like for Game Changer Goods?
Our goal really is just to inspire other young athletes that are going through tough times, and we're just getting on the best game changers in sports, and it shows like perspectives of other really inspiring people that kids look up to today.
I hope me and Riley get to the point where we're all the way down the road and we're old. Well, not old, but like playing banana ball.
Yeah, that would be so cool to see. You guys are going to owe me a lot of tickets if you end up playing banana ball in a couple of years. I'm gonna hound you guys for tickets, but it's super important for you guys to know that having the drive and having the creativity and the interest to do something like this is super important. And the older you get, there are going to be more and more people who don't get it, but don't let that sway you, because creating stuff together and trying to get a message out there and being creatively vulnerable and saying like, I made this thing, like, enjoy it, is like the best thing that you can do. So I hope you guys stick to this thing and do it forever. And in 10 years, when you guys are playing banana ball, you'll be able to point at these episodes 10 years in the past and put them up on the scoreboard in Brycen Stadium. And then, a bunch of kids who are 10 years old when you guys are there will be like, this is awesome, But
Yeah.
no matter where your journey takes you, no matter what you do, the same part of you guys that was like, we should start a podcast, we should start making stuff, always, always, always listen to that part and always keep getting better at this thing. You guys are learning skills that I didn't learn until I was like 18, 20 years old. And that's going to take you places.
I think we inspired one of the kids in NYABC to start a podcast.
That's cool. That's like the coolest thing in the world. To be able to inspire someone to make stuff is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Before we sign off, what would be one thing you would want to tell your 10-year-old self?
Oh man, start playing baseball now. Get 2 extra years of baseball. Man, tell my 10-year-old self, I think when I was your guys' age, I never would have had the confidence to do something like this and start a podcast and get my thoughts out there. I was a way different guy, at 10 than I am now. I would just say make all the mistakes. Make all the mistakes that I made. It's okay. You're going to be fine. Make those mistakes. Don't regret making those mistakes because they make you who you are.
A huge thank you to White Rose for coming on the show tonight. We appreciate you spending time with us.
I appreciate you guys having me. This is like awesome. This is the best. Truly.
This is Brycen.
And Riley.
Thank you for joining us for this episode, and until next time.
Think about what kind of kid you want to be.